The Canadian Parliament building is rather beautiful, but it's not the only impressive building in the nation's capital. Here are the stadiums and arenas of Ottawa, Canada. Starting off with a stadium that has had many names over the years, depending on which company was willing to pay the most money. But they've struck upon the title of Ottawa Stadium. Absolutely genius, because it's a stadium in Ottawa, you see. No, it's a very generic name for a fairly generic minor league ballpark, which is basically completely symmetrical, and the surrounds are less than serene. There's no outfield seating unless you want to climb a tree. Okay, at least it does have that going for it, a bit of greenery. Several teams have called this place home over the years, and some years it's gone without a tenant at all. It was very quiet. Although it certainly wasn't quiet during those trucker protests a couple of years ago, as the car parks over here accommodated hundreds of those trucks. They had to go somewhere, I suppose. I'm guessing this Canadian Tire store was booming during that period. Speaking of Canadian Tire, Canadian Tire Centre. It's interesting that Canada spells tire in the American way and the centre in the British way. Judging from that, I assume that most Canadians start their day with a nice cup of coffee tea, splitting the difference. Thankfully, they haven't split the difference when it comes to ice hockey and field hockey, because I don't think slush hockey would make for a very good sport. Not only does this venue host Canada's national winter sport, but also lacrosse, which is the national summer sport, I believe. The Ottawa Black Bears were founded just last year. Well, they existed before that, but they were known as the New York Riptide. The seating bowl here is comprised of multiple tiers steeply stacked on top of one another, which is what I like to see. I suppose it is fitting that the tire is spelled T-I-R-E, because although this seems like a solid all-round arena, the Senators must tire of playing here, because they do plan on building a new arena closer to downtown. I'm not sure whether that will actually eventuate though, because I'm always hearing people say that Senators never get anything done. TD Place Stadium. There's been a sports field on this site since way back in the 1870s, before Canadian football was a thing and rugby was a popular form of football. It became a proper stadium in 1908 when the first grandstand was built. It was demolished and rebuilt in the late 60s, and up until the late 2000s both grandstands looked like the northern one, but the southern one was condemned due to cracks in the concrete. That was a blessing in disguise because the stand that replaced it is beautiful by comparison, although it does make for a bit of an odd contrast. Like a lot of CFL stadiums, there's no seating beyond the end zones. I believe that is partially due to the elongated end zones of Canadian football, which aren't so spectator friendly, but also there doesn't need to be any seating there, as the CFL doesn't quite attract NFL-sized crowds. This is a very distinctive stadium in its own right, however there is one aspect that makes it truly unique. What am I talking about? Well, tucked away beneath the northern stand is TD Place Arena, which came into existence when the stadium was rebuilt.
You know, I think we might be able to sneak a hockey arena under the stand without anyone noticing.
The roof consists of these huge steel girders, some of which had to be brought here via this canal. I never knew steel girders could float. Maybe they were on a boat. A boat that is large. Or perhaps a barge. Sorry, I'm prone to descend into rhyme. It happens all the time. I think it's ended. I have been mended. Truck. Okay, now it's done. Obviously being situated underneath the football stadium stand means that the seating layout had to be a bit lopsided. But that's certainly no bad thing. A couple of honourable mentions now. TAAG Park is home to Charlton University's football team. U Sports isn't quite as big as the NCAA. Terry Fox Stadium is an athletic stadium named after a cancer research activist. That's probably the only thing that makes it stand out though. So there you have it. I think I'd have to say the TD Place Stadium is my favourite. TD must stand for the dopest. Or Transylvanian Donkey. We'll never know. Unfortunately for the American viewers, there is an additional 25% tacked on to the end of this video that you'll have to endure. I didn't make the rules. See that? Jetzt ist wirklich raus in den nächsten Mission. See that? Jetzt ist wirklich raus in den nächsten Mission. I don't know, has it been 25% yet? Thanks for watching, have a good one.